you so much, Charmer. And as I'm literally, hey, give me 1 second. I'm extending out, and I'm getting the handoff right now. Come here. Come here, my son. Power.
Me?
No. I'm talking. Well, actually, I don't know why I'm calling Charmer my son. Yeah. pretty sure I'm the younger person. I feel like I just disrespected our host.
Son.
I hope he doesn't just come through voice of God mode and just send me to the Shadow Realm afterwards. But NME and Immortals, they took no time whatsoever in determining what they wanted to ban or pick smacks, because we've already zoomed through the first 3 bans on both sides, and now we're already into the pick and ban phase. Corki being selected first here for NME. Notice here that as we're getting into the matches against NME and Tribe Gaming, you're going to see that the Ziggs priority will start to fall versus the series that we just watched today.
We have seen a lot of Ziggs throughout the day, but that's just not really NME or Tribe's MO based on what we've seen throughout the rest of the days. But just like we said before, the support bans are coming through. Senna, Rakan, also Nami removed from the pool. This does open up things like Selma's Janna that Charmer was referring to. And looks like that is going to be the lock-in for NME there, not wasting any time with that one. Already prioritizing this flex pick of the Corki. You can send a mid, you can send a Dragon Lane. It has a lot of extra marksman damage packed into it. But Rafa, one thing the enemy did neglect here is, while they did ban away Iraqi Zoro's Malphite, they've left up the only other true tank option for the Baron lane, and Immortals did scoop that one right up.
The curious thing, though, is that this Camille has also been locked in. Now, we know that the Camille can also flex to the jungle, but my suspicion is, are we going to see the Gragas flex anywhere else besides the Baron lane? I know we have seen Gragas support in the past, especially when you pair it with things like a Senna. However, Senna being taken off the table kind of negates that option. We know that Tarzan showed our first competitive Gragas jungle. Didn't look too bad. I know I've played some jungle Gragas in our trio flex queue games. It's not the best jungler that you can select for yourself, but if you want to get some AP damage, or you just need some disengage options and you want to get a better option as a counter pick for the Baron lane, then that's always an option. We cannot safely determine that, you know, Camille and Gragas are necessarily in the 2 roles that they're currently positioned in so far.
Yeah, and you and I know very well that the Camille Galio duo is very strong. It's another one that we've experienced a lot in our ranked games. You just land that Hextech Ultimatum, and then the Galio Hero's entrance right on top of that one from anywhere on the Rift. So very strong performances that you can find with that one. Strong pick potential, team fighting, you name it. Camille Galio are good at it. So for NME, they have to be careful, and they've got some nice kiting champions here. The Xayah, the Corki, already very, very mobile and very defensive champions when they need to be, and Janna too with the Monsoon. You can push those engage fronts away. The enemy, they want to pack a punch with their front line as well, and they've done so with these last 2 picks for themselves, with Darius and Wukong rounding out the top side.
It's definitely a lot easier for NME with the Darius pick if people are going to play into you. Because even though that we know that Protobelt Darius is really strong and gives you actually a decent engage option with Rocket Belt into Apprehend, but traditionally Darius it's a lot easier for Darius to play when there's already a bunch of short range or melee carries around, because then it's easier to get off that Decimate swing. And Wukong, yes, great engage option with the Cyclone, but you can always use it defensively as well, because when you already have things like a Xayah and a Janna locked in, you want to naturally be playing defensive. You want to be playing back. You want to have the kite back composition. It's not the easiest for Janna to quote-unquote follow up on the aggression unless you just start seeing Selma flanking around and going for a flash monsoon play. I mean, that'd be cool as hell, but that's not necessarily the strength of the champion. But for Immortals, I mean, you already see them, Smacks. It's just a reaction to the fact that Immortals has so much dive potential already within the first 3 champions.
I can't believe you don't support Hyphy Janna insect plays. That's
okay. But before you get
sacrilege.
anywhere with that, I did a pro guys video, and I said, don't be a weakling Janna, be a Chad Janna. You know, you just stand in front, shield yourself, and throw auto attacks. That's one of the best level 1s that you can ever have. You have so much range support to harass. But anyways, Matt, continue what you were about to say.
Well, I mean, no, you're 100% right. I mean, Chad in the dictionary is just a like the definition is just a picture of Janna. So yeah, exactly.
Ah.
Something that Selma can certainly show us today. We're seeing now with a Twisted Fate lock-in that it is in fact going to be Galio support. Camille Gragas can still flex around. We have seen Gragas in the jungle, like you said, but we're expecting this is going to be jungle Camille as an answer into Wukong, or just at blind pick as Wukong is actually the answer into the Camille. But still has that pick potential, even bolstered further by the Destiny and then the gold card here that's going to be coming out of Hoon. So the members of NME, while they are defensive and they can play back and kite back, they have to be very careful of a gold card, hook shot, hero's entrance, body slam, explosive cast, all of these tools that Immortals have packed into their team to just disrupt all of that and pave the way for this Ezreal for Goom to just plow people down with all these mystic shots in the late game. So I like that Immortals have this very beefy pick-oriented front line to play with, and they're going to have to show us that they know how to use these tools, because this is pretty different from what we've seen against their series against Cloud9 just a bit ago.
Yeah, a lot of pick potential single target CC that is going to be really powerful for setting up split pushes if you want to send someone to the side lane, or then just look for Darius splitting on the side lane, maybe Corki as well. Again, maybe Valkyrie or Package is a great escape tool, but being locked down by Hextech ultimatums doesn't give you that same luxury, because you cannot escape that zone, Mr. Smacks. And for Immortals, my only thing is that I would normally promote Camille Baron over the Gragas if you want to go for a 1-3-1, but as we've seen before, it's not uncommon for junglers, especially if they take something like a Camille, to be one of the split pushers in the side lane, because the map is so small and you don't necessarily have to be on the same side of an objective when it comes up, because you'll still be able to get over there in the nick of time.
Feels to me also that Camille wants to accelerate to level 5 and start ganking with hookshot and Hextech ultimatum as soon as possible in this game too, just to make sure that the scaling factor of Corki and Xayah is just, hindered slightly in that early game, or maybe more than slightly if we are being completely honest. NME have a lot of scaling potential on their squad, and we've seen them take wins against, well, really every single team that isn't named Tribe specifically. So, Enemy, very, very daunting team to have to go up against, and Immortals, they're trying a pretty tricky composition, all things considered.
Alrighty. No level 1 shenanigans so far. A couple of vision wards being placed, though. One is going to be on the Raptor camp right under Yikes, whereas the other was in front of the red buff. You even see Hoon gets the chance to hit the vision plant. Not sure if it spotted out Tybe, but it definitely spotted out that the red buff was taken, so they know where Tybe should be. And this is where we have seen the most common adaptation from NME and Tribe, as both junglers will rush towards the mid lane after doing 2 camps, soak XP, get the push in for this mid wave so that they can get priority for either the scuttle crabs.
Red Raptors mid, that is the name of the game. Yikes takes the slight bait and hook shots into the clone of Wukong. Looks like we're angling towards Immortals taking the bottom scuttle crab and Enemy taking the top one, unless they want to go for a fight. Enemy very favored on this side as long as they can keep that push in bot.
And look at the patience, though, from Immortals. Instead of going immediately for the Scuttle Crab, they wait in the bush. Hoon calls over for Yikes to collapse right back. But as you said, Dienzio and Selma are able to get the first collapse. Remember, blue side is favored for this one as they have an easier access into the river bush, but Gume and Charn are able to force their way through. A flash taunt from Charn is going to set things up for Immortals to start off just right. Truth is on the backside, but a beautiful four-man root from Dienzio might get enough damage right on the back of what it seemed to be an Immortal favored engage. Turns right around. An Enemy picks up first blood.
Ooh, Immortals, they got the smite onto Scuttle Crab, and they were able to survive a good chunk of that damage, but Dienzio's root through all 4 members was enough for Enemy to completely turn that fight on its head. 2 quick kills for them, including that first blood gold that is so valuable, and keep pressure on this map, and they can even chunk out Araki Zoro in this Baron lane. A Louis already flexing his Darius muscles.
And it seemed so good for Immortals, too, because they got a huge chunk out of Tide and Truth trying to get access into the river between Hoon and Yikes. It seemed like that was going to be set up for success. And Charm, despite having the jungle disadvantage in terms of just map side, still gets over the wall, gets the flash taunt down, but it's just not enough damage follow-up. And the way that Dienzio is able to position those Feds, it's just really small, beautiful outplays occurring already in game 1 of this series, Max.
The longer the fight goes with Xayah in it, the more damage that pullback is going to deal with the third ability, the Blade Caller, doing a chunk and a half. Dienzio showing us that with his Xayah mechanics. I've been seeing the tweets that he's been posting. You know, he's got all these Xayah plays that he's flexing on us. And now he's sending it into the Wild Rift Summoner series as well. You know, Dienzio's always been the kind of guy who just tells you exactly what champions he thinks are good. He's got that YouTube channel, he's got that Twitter, he's making sure that everyone knows. But Immortals, not respecting that enough. They still give over these champions to him, even though he is very publicly telling you, hey, I'm good at this.
You know, every single NME match we get, we always find a way to plug Dienzio's.
I know. I mean, it's in his name.
It is in his name. Even Tybe has his Twitch in his name as well.
Yeah,
but,
true.
You know, the funny thing is that Hoon, I actually came upon his YouTube channel this morning.
Ooh.
There is, unfortunately, when I was looking through all the content, there's a ton of content. It's not Wild Rift content though. It's another game, and I'm like, man, come on, you're a professional player for Immortals. Where's the Wild Rift content, homie? But, you know, I respect the grind. I respect the hustle. You know, whatever works, right? You know, and if you can still be one of the best players in Wild Rift NA on the side while, you know, making content for a different title, then, you know, props to you. As Immortals are going to make this trade, they come out with the Rift Herald. They're going to try to snowball the top side of the map as Louis didn't get the solo kill, but as you mentioned before, Smacks, it was a huge chunk on Naraki Zoro, trying to relieve some of that pressure now by going for the first brick.
Trade of turrets now. It's Immortals, they still have this Rift Herald alive. It is very likely going to be 2 turrets for them, especially if they can get these plates through, but looks like they're going to be completely content with just the first plate. As you can see, members of NME are rotating over. Immortals cut their losses, and just know that they did get that first turret. Still down quite a bit of gold thanks to that early play from the enemy Dragon duo, and also the Drake, which has the nice bit of scaling for them.
Drake? Drake! Sorry. Gotta keep you on your toes.
You a Soulja Boy fan?
I'm a fan of that interview because some of the best memes have come out of that that session there, you know. Oh, wow. Gume, cheeky punk there, stealing away Mr. Tybe's blue buff. I mean, oh, that's, you know, now be careful, buddy. Tybe already probably saying, all right, I gotta kill this guy now. And he took my blue buff. This kind of cringe.
Yikes, going for some jungle invading as well. Doesn't have the same global threat of a true shot barrage, but can get a hook shot in there and steal some Kruggies away. Some Kruggy Nuggies. You can go back
Kruggy Nuggies.
Waiting for the objectives to spawn. This is where we get the typical just calm before the storm. And a nice check-in on these items. I like this build from Tybe, actually. He's gone for a Phage, just getting that damage-oriented component ready, as he does instead go for the Sunfire Cape. I like this a lot. This is a nice, durable middle ground from what we usually see. I mean, just last series we got to see a Wukong build with Yomu's Rush, so this is a different set of items. I like to see the variety.
Yeah, well, Wukong is just really flexible in what you get to build because the utility still remains the same whether you go for more of an assassin start with the Yumu's Ghostblade Rush, a little bit more armor penetration and damage, or Black Cleaver gives you the total armor cleaving stack as well as the movement speed and a lot of ability haste, or you just go for Sunfire Cape, and that just makes you extremely beefy. No armor quite yet, but a lot of residual damage just thanks to the Immolate passive, as now Hoon is popping the Destiny, trying to get eyes on everyone. Notices that Tybe is already splitting on the bottom side of the map, getting some resources and farm here. As we already mentioned before, you know, NME is one of the few teams that we see a lot of resources being dedicated over to their jungler in Tybe, as he's trying to potentially win this 1v1. Doesn't use the Cyclone, just trying to see and test how far he can go against the Gragas.
And I do believe Iraqi Zoro has a Bramble Vest right now, so cutting out some of the healing from Tybe. Look at that, yeah. He gets the Grievous Wounds down, so the extended team fights, the extended 1v1s rather, are much more favored for him against a champion like Wukong and Darius. It's a nice multifaceted option for him. I like that one from Iraqi. And we're now getting into the zone, Rafa, where the next team fight will decide the major scaling in this game, because Mountain Dragon, one of the most sought-after objectives in this game, likely will have all hands on deck from both teams, and you can see NME are first to the punch.
Packages available as well for Truth, so even if Immortals try to force a fight here, it would not be advised well, because sitting on top of a package in the river, it's not fun, Smacks, you know, just to put it bluntly.
Not fun at all, and you can see Immortals, because of this, will just completely concede, and NME are completely fine with this. They get that scaling online, get to make their way into this side of the map. So Destiny
Guillotine comes out. Charm doesn't go down, but things were getting a little dicey there for both Louis and Charm. Had to flash immediately, but then baited Charm forward.
Oh boy.
Now we have a collapse of collateral damage. Yikes getting caught out in the river. Not having all of his teammates on the same page, as Charm already had to leave. Hero's Entrance is finally going to be used as the explosive cast. Tries to punt Tybe right under the tower, but because he's beefy, he's got that Sunfire Cape, he has enough durability to survive. Looks for the re-engage of the tower, but doesn't have another Cyclone coming up quite soon. A lot of members super low on the side of NME. Redemption comes out, gives a little bit of relief, but the rest of Immortals are going to stay strong in front of this mid turret.
And Selma, with the Monsoon and the Redemption, had to have healed like thousands and thousands of health right there. This Janna already putting in so much work in the team fights. Immortals just can't find any lethal hit while Janna is alive. They're going to need to deal with Selma eventually, and they do have a lot of pick potential, as I said, in the draft. They've got Gold Card, they've got Gragas, and the cask was really sick there from Iraqi Zoro, but slightly too late to cut through all of the healing from Selma. Might potentially need to fully purchase the Thorn Mail just to spread the 60% Grievous Wounds through the crowd control. And, I mean, that would certainly be valuable against a champion like Janna, but does need to provide himself with some more durability rather than the team fight utility that Thorn Mail provides so far.
Approaching, or just past the 10-minute marks, Max, which means the giant purple worm has spawned on the rift. Is that really what the Baron sound makes? I've never...
No,
like
it's more like screechy, but... Now, okay, less screechy than that.
Okay.
Oh.
No, I can't get it. It's too lower than my register. Louis, a little low right now on HP. Guillotine comes out. Not going to be enough damage, but because Yikes is spotted on the bottom side of the map, the rest of the enemies say, let's go for this Baron. Can they burn this down fast enough? They have all eyes on them thanks to Hoon's Destiny. Yikes is still nowhere near the scene of the death that could potentially be all the members of NME if they don't burn this down fast enough. Yikes is now the Baron, but he comes in and says, thanks for the leash, monkey! And Immortals are coming here to clean up the rest of NME. Tybe is able to escape over the wall. Dienzio says it's go time, tries to take it back towards Yikes, and just as I say what seemed like a free Baron leash, there might be no Baron after all, because NME win the 3v5.
Okay. 5-head play, Rafa. You know what NME just did? They baited Immortals in to take all of the Baron damage for them, and I'm sure that they didn't intend to actually give up Baron, but spreading off all of that damage and leaving their marksman alive the entire time ended up being much more favorable for NME. We'll see if they can get the next Baron, as it was still a really risky fight, and I'm obviously being slightly facetious. I'm sure they actually did want to take that Baron all by themselves, but NME do still come out ahead with this one, and Immortals, despite a monster steal from Yikes, are still in sort of the death realm. No Mordekaiser, though.
It's a steal, but at what cost, Max? Because,
pretty big one.
There's no... I mean, at least NME don't get the Baron, it could have been worse, considering that they still lost the numbers fight after having a 5-on-4 when it first started after the Baron steal. But NME still are only 4,000 gold ahead. But the way that things are playing out right now, you look at members of Immortals. I'm just getting concerned if they're not going to have enough reliable engaged for these 5-on-5s. Truth, once again, having package right in time with this dragon spawn means that now NME, the scaling side is on their advantage. 3 dragons to their side. Arakizor has been cut off by the package, trying to make his way through the outside jungle exit, but he doesn't get a chance to survive. He gets rooted up by the Blade Caller, and NME continuing this push through the bottom lane.
Iraqi Zoro not being tanky enough to withstand all this is bad news for Immortals, because as you said, Rafa, they really don't have a team-wide engage. Their team is very built around bursting one single target with Gold Card and Hextech Ultimatum, and past that, they hope that they can kill that one person, so then their front line can be activated from there. But if Iraqi Zoro is taking all this damage and not doing much with it, because there's no backline there to help him out, the Immortals are looking worse for wear. Another Drake going over to NME means that scaling is still on their side. Corki, way more powerful than Ezreal at this point, and that's not even the only marksman that NME has. So Immortals, they need to find some way to slow the pace of this game. And the time is ticking, Rafa. That Baron is spawning very soon. I believe it's in about 30 seconds from now. There it is. This is scary.
25 seconds left on this next Baron. Said before, 2 marksmen for the side of NME are insanely strong right now. Truth, we talked about it at before the draft phase even began, when Charmer asked, who are we looking at? I know I put my vet on Truth and Hoon, and right now, Truth is one of the biggest members on the team right now. 13,000 gold in his stead as he now pops the stasis to bait the rest of Immortals in for the engage. It was a beautiful 4-man taunt from Charm, but not before the axe comes in with the guillotine, looking for more damage, forcing Gume away. Iraqi Zoro trying to do his best to tank up the massacre under the turret. Does eventually trade out 1 for Dienzio. 4 members still strong from the side of NME, whereas 3 have fallen from Immortals. They get the tier 2 turret. That's going to be it for now.
Okay, Yikes does have Smite. He is still the jungler. He is still alive. So it does mean NME can't actually go for Baron quite yet. But Rafa, they used their Hextech Ultimatum Hero's Entrance to disengage. They're not using it proactively. They're not using it to find any picks in their own right. This is such a bad situation to be in. They are the ones getting picked off on Immortals' side. They are the ones who have to play disengage and play back. It's good for Goom because he is the one who is the champion that's built to do that. He is going to be the king of kiting on Ezreal. Title still remains true in the second iteration of League of Legends, but it's still so tricky for him to operate when his main engage tools are being used to save themselves rather than him.
Defensively ulting versus being able to aggressively ult to follow up on the engagement. Immortals are not able to find success against NME in these fights. And we talked about it before, Smacks, that you have powerful kiting and disengage tools. Selma's Monsoon has been great to be able to keep opposition at bay once they get into the back line. It's so hard to take down a Xayah once she is fed, and then it can Featherstorm. Tybe, though, all by himself, 4-man Cyclone. Can he get out? There's no way, right? Ty makes it out alive, and now Truth is going for the re-engage with the package, has to flash away because Yikes expends the Hextech Ultimatum. Knock-up lands as well from Hero's Entrance. Beautiful cast from Iraqi Zoro, catapulting Selma right into the back line, and now this might be Immortals' fight to find. Hoon is going to pop the Destiny, looking for the gold card, but gets slowed by Truth. Has to peel back away, and now the rest of the enemy, they're on the kite back. They have to be able to keep the opposition at bay. Alou is now split up from the rest of the members of NME. He's going to find himself isolated. And Immortals, they find the Baron laner. It's only Truth and Tybe left on the field. Baron doesn't seem like a healthy option for Immortals, but it's still one way to keep themselves in this game.
Okay, double kill for Yikes keeps them in it, Rafa. As you said, they are still able to find these picks. This is what I wanted them to do for the whole game. They have these options to go for. They can find out these split apart members, and potentially they can even go for this Elder Dragon. I don't think Truth has the package, but they're coming nonetheless Wukong and Corki have access to get over this wall, but Infernal Elder Dragon is a hell of a buff to overcome. Let's see if they can get over.
Oh, yeah, there's no time.
Oh! Oh. Okay,
I saw that going differently, Smacks. Oh,
I did too, but we're through it. It's all right. Immortals got it. This is a really big buff for them, and it was totally theirs the entire time. Totally. It wasn't close at all. Well done.
I mean, we coming from League of Legends, we've seen epic monsters being stolen with a Corki rocket over the wall. If you remember Season 5, TSM, Team Liquid, Piglet on the Corki. Oh, man. That was a blast in the past. But right now, it's the lower bracket finals. And NME, after having 3 dragons, lose a huge fight in the Baron side of the map, and they are not able to contest for the Elder Dragon, which Immortals secure for themselves. It's a huge buff, Infernal Soul on their side, Smacks, which means that they have the extra ability power and AD damage, and they're going to have the true damage burn. Another turret has fallen. Hoon has popped the Destiny. Yikes is in the backline. Oh, okay. That was super close on the Baron. Now, enemy, they just have to get out. They have the Baron buff on their side, because I don't know if they're going to be able to win this fight, but that was a huge blade calling from Tienzio just to wipe out Yikes and Charm. And this is... How do they keep winning these fights, Smacks?
They're against Elder Infernal, but they just don't care. NME's marksman backline remains alive the entire time. And Rafa, they got the Baron at 4 HP. That is a single-digit number, just 4. All these members still alive. They've got some minions to clamber into the base. And Rafa, I think they've done it. NME take the first game in the lower finals against Immortals.
Bruh, there's no shot that you beat Elder Infernal Soul. But you know what? I think we have someone that we're going to be joining back once again with that has their thoughts on how that first game actually went. And just as I say that, that may not be true. Because I think, I remember now that every time this happens, it's at the end of the series, not necessarily the end of the game, that we're joined by the voice of God, Mr. Charmer himself.
Yes,
but
do not worry. We'll get to hear from him very soon. But yeah, this... I'm sure when you look at the gold for this game, it actually wasn't as close. Yeah, okay, so it was blue the entire time, but this really doesn't paint an accurate picture, I would say, because there was that Baron steal by Yikes. There was the Elder Infernal locked down by Yikes as well. Crazy objective control was attained by the members of Immortals, but the fight in the early game really set things off on the right foot for NME, and they kept it there for a good chunk of that game. So much confidence, so much team fight skill from these marksman players.
Truth was just absolutely bonkers. And we talked about it before. Hoon has the capability of playing both utility and carry champions. However, I know that any dedicated Hoon fans will prefer to see him on carry champions. And Twisted Fate, unless you get to the very, very late game where you're able to one-shot people with gold card, wild card combos, Twisted Fate is not necessarily a hardcore carry champion. You pick Twisted Fate to supplement someone else on the map, to snowball them and accelerate them to the point of them being the hardcore carry. But you can't really you can't snowball a Gragas. The Gragas is supposed to be a frontline member, and then that leaves you with your marksman player. But I mean, poor Gume, he never got a chance to get in those fights because on Lucian, you're short range, man. How are you supposed to get access to those fights when they have so many disengage tools on the side of NME?
Not a whole lot to be done at that point. And I mean, for this Ezreal, I was really impressed with the team fight capabilities and just the ability to be on his own in that game, because truly he was. There's a full frontline team, and then Ezreal. Yeah, sorry. I might have said Lucian. I meant Ezreal. No.
I said Lucian. You're correct,
okay.
My friend. Thank you.
We're all wrong. We're all right. I don't know. At the end of the day, Goom did look quite good on this Ezreal, despite not having a lot of backline support for him. And I think that's a really big deal because he's been looking so solid all throughout today. Yes, this is Immortals' first individual game loss, as they did just win 4 in a row. It was amazing. But they had some close calls all throughout. And I think he's been the really big performer when it comes down to the 5v5s. And with these marksman plays that we're seeing from him, I want to see him on a stronger hyper carry because he can play defensive. He can play by himself and deal a lot of damage that way. But if you're building a composition with him in mind and him popping off on things like the Xayah that we've seen today and other hyper carries through that, then I think it does look stronger for Immortals and it's more conjoined together, which is good.
Just give me like Unakali, man. Hoon Diana, Hoon Aurelia, make it happen.
He
And
can play
Hoon
those dive
Yasuo.
champions. Yeah, if he's playing that and Iraqi is playing another tank, then that's sweet. But I want to see some more like Enchanter stuff for the backside as well, because I think the front line for Immortals is very, very good at that. But we've known Charm to be this multifaceted support, and I mean, it's the Rakan champion that makes that so clear for us to see as spectators and as casters and everything. But it's going to get banned away again. You already know it's going to happen. So you have to find another way to do that.
Well, Smacks, do you think that after having a win buffer and game on their side, that NME gets to show us the Thresh support? Will Selma pull it out? 'Cause I know.
I hope so. I don't want to flame Shaded Talent, but I was not pleased with that as our Thresh debut. I'm a big fan of Thresh. I think this champion is actually very underrated. I think it's quite good, but it didn't quite come to fruition in that game. See, for me, I'm gonna get slightly off the rails here. For me, this champion is very much about the Dark Passage Lantern and Flay. And if you're casting Death Sentence, it better hit, or else you're just wasting all that time that you could be using literally just auto-attacking instead, and it'd be better. So I think that with those two abilities in mind for Thresh, and things like the Protector's Vow, which are a lot stronger in my opinion, or even like a Deadman's Plate as well, as you can move and get into range with your Flay, I think that's way more important. I'm going off on a crazy tangent though. Thresh is probably not even going to be picked.
This is fine. This is fine. Hey, you know,
I love Thresh.
I wanted to give you a platform to talk about Thresh because this was literally the same thing that we saw during the first major, where I think the first day, every single Lucian game that was played, it was played horribly.
Yeah,
and
it's
Alk
true.
Battery was so upset. He was just like, guys, Lucian is so good. How are you, like, losing these games? Like, you're just not playing them correctly. And then we finally saw Dienzio play Lucian, and Alk in the chat was like, finally, a good Lucian player.
And now everyone knows how to play him, which is great.
Yeah.
But it takes that step forward to get a new champion into the meta. And a very highly mechanical champion, too, like Thresh, is going to take a lot more. So I appreciate Shaded Talent for bringing it to us. But I hope that we have some more Thresh players. If not today, then soon in the future. Probably not in this draft, though.
Well, let's find out. We are into the draft phase for the second match, or second game, I should say, between Immortals and NME. NME already up 1-0. If they take this game, they will secure their spot into the North American Summoner Series Regional Championships starting in October. It's going to take place that weekend from the 8th to the 10th. You better not miss it. I'm not sure which Twitch channel it will be on for the time being. But because the Summoner Series is brought to you by Riot Games, Nerd Street, and Wisdom, it's going to be on one of those 3 channels. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes. Already, Immortals, though, there's a lot of respect for Selma's Rakan, despite Charm having a nasty Rakan themselves. And so they're just trying to deny the Lovers Duo combo away from NME.
You definitely don't want that champion to go into the right hands, the wrong hands. I don't know. It depends on what team it is, really. This champion is so crazy, the Rakan. It's good at just about everything. So I like this as a first ban, despite, like you said, Charm being so skilled at it. I guess he doesn't really want to first pick it. So gotta respect that as the option. NME continuing the trend of banning Nami away. Senna is still up though, Rafa. So this is potentially going to be in our final bans, or maybe it slips through for, I believe, the first time today. Now, I understand that, like, you usually are doing this because you're very excited about something. Does Senna spark excitement for you? Because I feel like this champion isn't, like, the flashiest thing in the world.
It's not, but it allows for cool combos, like Senna Nasus, or
true.
Senna Gragas, or Senna Pantheon. And, you know, I wanted to get a chance to have some ASMR on the cast as well, which...
Oh, you don't need an excuse to do ASMR. Just go on for the next bit. Just ASMR right now.
It's not gonna be the Senna ban. We love it right now. It's gonna be locked in. Come on, do it. Oh, but they switch over to the Akali. That's incredible. And there it is, the Senna hover. Wait, can you even hear me?
I think there's music playing too. I can hear you.
No, okay.
I don't think anyone can hear you. So,
my producer is telling me that because of the noise gate, you may have not been able to hear me at all. It just must have been a caster muted Keck W moment. So, and next time. But enemies slam the big ol' shard of the monolith for the Baron lane, as well as the spirit of the warrior himself, Mr. Xin Zhao, aka what's his name? Captain Li Shang from Mulan.
oh, for Mulan, yeah.
Yeah. I always think of Xin Zhao, and then I hear "I'll Make a Man Out of You" theme song just blaring in the background because it's so. You just get the montage rolling. But Immortals, they've got the bomb expert, and they've got a Viking as well.
Yeah. Olaf, I like this response into Xin Zhao. We've seen a lot of early game skirmishes come out of Xin Zhao specifically, so why not lock in the best champion at that style of play? Going to be a good option for Yikes. And while it doesn't work in the late game very well, you do have things that can support it quite well, like the Senna and the zone control of Ziggs. So a good setup nonetheless. We're still waiting to see what that actual Dragon Lane pair will be for Immortals. You already have the Senna, but a lot of options are still up on the board. The Nasus that you said, we could potentially see the Ziggs flex down as the pair. I know that's been a relatively popular choice, and against Nami, you do want to have that double range pretty often, so that she doesn't just completely outlane you with the ebb and flow heals and damage and everything. That encompasses that ability.
But you can see how important hiding the mid lane pick for enemy is, because they know how deadly Hoon can be, and if he's forced into a blind pick situation rather than a counter pick, then it is easier for Truth to be able to have the upper hand in the laning phase, as Kai'Sa being locked in for the marksman role. Enemy still have to wait and see what Immortals will be sending to this Dragon side duo. And with this hover, it is the big Doge himself. Can we see some Doge coin as well, as he'll be the one farming stacks in the Dragon lane alongside Senna? And there it is! The Stonks will be rising, Smacks.
Okay, Rafa, I love the Senna and the Nasus. It's a nice bit of sustain into enemy. They don't have a lot of hard crowd control right here. They don't have any stuns. They only have the one displacement from the Ziggs Satchel. And I fear if this final pick doesn't have any of that either, then this opens the way for champions like Akali, which is banned. But more importantly, the Katarina, which is definitely still an option for Truth to go for. And Renekton has a nice stun, so that is at least something that Immortals are doing to prepare themselves for a potential assassin pick from NME. But I feel like Truth has a pretty solid opportunity to go for that signature Katarina here, and look at that. The brain waves are expanding. I am just a genius, well, and so are enemy.
I was hoping for a little bit of Yasuo, but then again, I don't know if I've ever seen Truth play Yasuo, because you have 4 knockups, or 3 knockups.
That's
Tidal
true.
Wave.
Yasuo would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that is of concern would be that there's not that much magic damage from this composition had there not been a Yasuo.
So here's the thing. It doesn't feel good against Nasus. Katarina doesn't care about Wither at all. But Yasuo does quite a bit because your first ability cooldown, the Steel Tempest, relies on attack speed. So if you do get withered, you just can't use it anymore. The cooldown gets really crazy. So that is potentially something that NME have considered with this. But Katarina, I really like hearing you. You just have to think every time you're playing Katarina of the checklist of cooldowns that Immortals are using as far as card crowd control. And for this game, the only things that can stop your Death Lotus are Ruthless Predator from Renekton and Satchel Charge from Ziggs. As long as those two abilities aren't in your vicinity or aren't even available, spin to win.
Just go Beyblade on them. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's Beyblade!
Throwing all the knives.
Between Beyblade, Bakugan, what else was like shows on like the Saturday morning smacks? What do you remember? What does your childhood remind you of?
I mean, there's like Pokemon as well. There was
oh yeah, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, the classics. Oh, Jackie Chan Adventures, dude.
My little brother binged that show like twice in a row. He loved it so much. So I would like there was like an entire summer where anytime I would go into the living room, he would be there watching that show, and it was just amazing. He also in that time watched all of Avatar: The Last Airbender. He's
a man of culture. Let's go.
Oh yeah, he's great. My little brother is amazing. He is 17 years old. He is the fastest runner at his school, and he just won a race this weekend.
I thought you were about to give me like Barry Allen, the Flash intro. Yeah.
And he's
I
the
am
fastest
17
man
years
alive.
old, and I'm the fastest man alive. I'm like, oh shit, dude, that's crazy.
If he was Barry Allen, then my mom would be dead. So I don't want that.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, I don't. I love my mom. I don't want anything to happen to her.
Well, this got dark real quick. Shaolin Showdown, though, American Dragon, Drake Long, all fantastic cartoons growing up. But the only hype intro and show that we need right now is this game 2 starting off right now, Smacks, because the way that this is playing out right now, when you have Katarina on the field versus Senanasis already, you have some exciting centerpieces to watch for that kind of break up the I don't want to say the monotony, but just the usual standard flavors that we get in this North America Summoner Series here for Wild Rift. Ziggs for Hoon. We know that it can scale. It's gonna be great the later the game goes on. But as NME and Tribe have realized for themselves, whether it's watching the Eastern Wild Rift scenes or just coming to their own conclusions about it as a team. Ziggs is an amazing champion when there are no assassins that is threatening your poor little lives.
Just kill him.
Yeah.
Just kill the rat.
Kill the rat.
And I mean, for NME, that's going to be a tough ask for them, I would say. Just overall, they've got some really good tools for it, like the Katarina and the Malphite, that can access this backline. But in order to comfortably get to a point where you can do that reliably, you are likely going to need to punish that mid lane and the dragon lane early on. And dragon lane in specific against Senanasis is not going to be an easy thing to do. You have to compete with all of the sustain of the Senna first ability and the Nasus with the Font of Life and the passive as well. Lots of sustain available for these two champions. So they're going to need to make great usage of the ebb and flow mainly for Selma and just other engage tools that potentially Tybe can provide.
Now, one of the things as we were getting back to standard lanes, Louis had chunked out Araki, burned their Ignite as well to try and chunk him out. Didn't get the barrier exchange though, and now Araki was able to hit level 2 first. Gonna get that first shove in. We'll now have some time to either make a roam or just get some vision control in this river, as already the duo jungle mid 2v2 happening and forcing the flash out of Hoon early on, but Tide might be in trouble, has the flash over the wall as well.
The flash for Ziggs is more valuable than the flash of Xin Zhao, though, because Xin Zhao much more mobile, more accessible to reach his targets. You can see Yikes is fighting with Dienzio on this river. I don't think Dienzio wants this fight, though. Yeah, no.
Yeah, they want the crab, but fortunately for Dienzio, the rest of Immortals are already here to claim that crab for themselves. Tive is extremely low, but Alui had already recalled, so it will be safe for him to clear out this crab on the riverside of the map, get some wards down, double the vision, double the fun, and double the protection and coverage for blue side entrance.
Tive is playing this either very defensive if he's just bowing out, or very aggressive as he is considering going for a fight in this bot side. Charm. Oh.
Oh.
He's so low.
Where's my two-shot barrage? Send it.
Yeah.
Send the Mega Death Rocket.
Ooh, a skirmish might still happen. This Tive really been just bullied around the map, it feels like. He hasn't really been early on these responses. A lot of that is just because of the fast, clear potential of Yikes. But Tive just not wanting to go for the vertical jungling despite all the vision that they have over there. You can see 4 wards in the topside river. Not wanting to compete with Iraqi Zoro, who could potentially just come down and stun him in the face. So back to his own clearing, and does give a pretty big advantage over to Yikes. Not just in gold, but just in timing for jungle, which is very key.
NME still not necessarily in the best position to contest for these 2 neutral objectives, as IMT are still quite even with them on gold. Charm and Goom, I wonder how many stacks Goom has at this point in the game. It would be probably under 30 souls at this point, just a little early on.
I'll be real with you, man. It's probably like 7.
Oh,
you
really?
don't get very many. Yeah,
Oh.
you do not get very many. Oh, look, there's probably 8. The minions do not stack it very much. Oh, it's 15. All right, more than I expected.
You know what? That's halfway to 30.
That's true.
Not bad. That's 16. I'm not going to count them. Well, we'll check back in. At this moment, Yikes getting a recall timer off. Not going to be able to finish the Black Cleaver anytime soon, or Death's Dance, as Tarzan has kind of pioneered the Death's Dance rush on Olaf in some situations. Black Cleaver also a great alternative. But Tive is already here to the first punch for this dragon, but Yikes says, that's fine. I want the Rift Herald.
Gonna be that classic trade where Immortals are barreling over toward that first objective. Doesn't look like NME are starting this up with much like prowess, I would say. Or intent, really, is the word that I was looking for, which means the Immortals have more time on their own, instantly dropping that Rift Herald, instantly stealing away some camps. This is feeling more favored for Immortals right now, but NME could still respond well. They could still deny another charge and take this turret for themselves, too.
4 members to 3, but the Rift Herald on their side means that it's a lot easier for Immortals to get first brick secured, and NME still trying to see if they can dedicate themselves to this crash on the bottom side of the map. But Immortals are going to get one more into the second tier turret. It's not going to knock down that structure anytime soon. NME actually give up the push on this one, so all the turrets for our Immortals still standing, and this is going to give them better map control for the time being.
Yeah, pretty huge lead for Immortals. They give up that Drake, so the scaling is something they have to consider, but for now, this is a huge gold lead for them to make use of, and they do still have Hoon on Ziggs, which is not the strongest early game champion in general, but if you're sieging with Ziggs, you deal so much damage to those things, especially with the passive and then the satchel charge to finish it off. So if we can see Hoon make his way over to those turrets that are worse for wear so far, could just explode those quite literally with the satchel.
Rest of the Immortals members, after sending their Dragon Duo into the Baron side to push down the first tier 1 turret and knock about half HP off of the second tier turret, gonna match Truth in this bottom side wave, whereas the Dragon Duo for NME trying to maintain mid-wave priority control against the Ziggs, ensuring that Immortals are not going to be able to knock down the mid turret anytime soon, because once that structure falls smacks, then this entire top side of the jungle quadrant is going to be so hard for enemy to contest and be able to protect, as now they might look for an opportunity on Dagume. Truth jumping in with that Death Lotus, and the Killer Instinct follow-up from Dienzio secures the kill and first blood for enemy.
As soon as that skill shot lands, it's so easy to just funnel on in. The tidal wave connects. Oh, on Dahoon just barely. Flash forward from a Louis, secures that one. A seismic shard, not going to be enough to lock in a double kill for him. But Tybe's searching. He's going all the way in. He's got the crescent sweep to save himself potentially, but Wither makes it a trade. Tybe dives way past his bounds.
Trying to look for an equalizer there, Smacks, but at what cost? Enemy are able to protect this turret, though, from falling. So maybe the sacrifice was worth it.
It could be. I feel like Tybe probably didn't need to do that even still, but the play is still enemy favored. Yeah, I mean, they got first blood, right? Dienzio's really fed now. He's got the full Blade of the Ring King alongside those components that Kai'Sa tends to build. Hoon, you know, it does still deal damage to the turret, so he's chipping away at it ever so slightly, but it's not quite in the execute threshold.
Maybe he just needs to do it 2 more times.
That's probably true.
Just walk up, throw another satchel charge, and just keep chipping away at it off cooldown.
Hope you don't die. Yeah. If you walk up without satchel into the range of the Xin Zhao and the Nami, then it certainly could happen. 2 Ziggs, a very frail champion. Yikes almost takes a full plasma chunk to the face, as Dienzio is really strong.
Yeah, having plasma chunk on your face is not the most fun experience either, Smacks. So
I'm sure you know from experience.
Yeah, well, not me, but I've had my friend had to donate plasma before, and it's weird. It's a weird substance. I didn't even know that like plasma existed. Whenever I think of plasma, I just go back to like days of Halo Reach and think of like plasma gun or the plasma grenades. Those were so cool. As what's not cool is having to force your flash, because the rest of the goon squad from Immortals, as it used to be the goons before they, obviously got picked up by Immortals, and the rest of this roster now sporting the green and black. Nice, very cool color combination, but a Louis locked out in this river, has to burn the stone plate, absorbing as much damage as he can, both the Mega Inferno Bomb and the Dawning Shadow. Gonna take some chip damage, but now they go for the re-engage, and look at that, how decisive they are. The rest of NME find their fight easily, and it's only left to Charm, who has to run like the wind away from the members of NME. HP bars are low here, Smacks, though, and Charm is still threatening.
Ooh, Spirit Fire will kill both Truth and Selma if he gets in range of it. Dienzio doing his best to play bodyguard. Tybe is getting pretty low with Spirit Fire, too. Another one of those might kill him. Charm is very threatening. You do not want to actually leave him alive, so they don't.
Well, double teleports are coming in, though.
Wait, whoa.
Yikes comes in.
He still got it.
Okay, Tybe gets the quick finger on the smite trigger, but NME will lose their jungler in exchange.
That was a nice smite for Tybe. And honestly, just very greedy situation, Charm staying alive, providing a teleport flank, and that's exactly what Immortals do, but enemy still come out ahead on this one. They still get the objective that they're looking for, and on top of it all, they did still get that early fight. Hoon, still alive for now.
Barrier and flash used, and Mega Inferno Bomb gets some chip damage back onto Louis, but this is a beefy shard of the monolith, Smacks, and they don't go down quite easily.
Shard of the monolith. What does that mean? Like, what does that what does that title do for him? Does that unlock like permissions for him within the company?
It's cool, like, man. Okay, like
gives
anytime
an extra dental plan.
Yeah, he gets benefits. He's part of the monolith like trading company, or MTC, not quite MTS. Although MTS did have a nice ribbon just a couple series ago. That was great performance. Unfortunately, not enough. But for NME, you don't need to be part of the MTC, because Louis is just that beefy. He is stone plate in hand, 2 fully completed items, and now he's looking for the re-engage because he is in Fog of War right now, Smacks.
Not anymore, but does still have the engage threat.
okay, well, they're still going to chase
still
for
good.
it. And they still got the damage, despite the unstoppable force actually being kind of stopped there. Truth picks up a triple quite easily. Iraqi Zoro now trying to clean up any stragglers from the rest of NME. Louis flashing over the wall or trying to walk away, as he already flashed and used the unstoppable force to quite a dismay, and Charm stays a little too far forward. Truth is very fed on this Katarina. Please don't disrespect it.
Well, a little bit sad about a Louis' attempt there.
Don't talk about it.
I'm sure he's sad about it too. We won't stay on that one for too long. And like I said though, still a fight that's okay for NME. It's a 4-for-4 in the end. They get a bunch of kills onto Truth. That's now a second item for him. So that's nice. And you know, you can only have better ultimates from there. That is the worst possible one that could happen for a Louis. So it's only up on this stay fourth. Gotta look at the bright side sometimes, Rafas. We're stacking up in the mid lane for NME. They've got the wave clear. They've got the pressure on the Charm, who might just die again.
Stone plate pops, but Dienzio.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness!
Ooh.
I mean, it was the right decision right there from Dienzio, because he was getting kited by Hoon. The satchel charge punted him away forward, and at that point, the Killer Instinct trying to potentially trade 1-for-1 back on the Charm. But there's no way out for Dienzio when both of his summoners have already been used. Enemy looking for a potential re-engage though, but Hoon is still full HP. Doesn't have the ultimate, but it's still going to be go time as they try to lock down Yikes. Yikes still on low HP, and Truth still has the Death Blade. He has the Lotus. Can he make the janitor cleanup special? Iraqi Zoro says no, gets his own Beyblade spinning action going on. Slices down Truth, slices down to Louis, and Immortals just like that turn it around. The gold swing now on their side. They might just be looking at control over this Baron.
It's a 4-for-0 ace, Rafa. Yikes isn't alive though, so they don't have the smite to lock this one in completely for certain. Selma and Dienzio in the wings. They do anything over this wall. The Baron, of course, is started up. All right. Yeah, they pushed them off. There's no way you keep doing this. You don't have smite. It's a breakup, though, Rafa. So if Dienzio and Selma can keep the opposition, you know, fleeing and not recalling instead, or, you know, just dead on the floor, that would also be acceptable as NME look for some more. Yikes in vision with that axe, but won't be into the pick quite yet. NME gonna start this one up, and they've got all 5 members here. They did delay the recalls. A great move from NME, from Dienzio and Selma, to just force members like Goom back into the base.
NME, despite a massive Immortals fight win, are still able to have an advantage numbers, and honestly just the correct timing on the map to pick up the dragon for free, whereas Immortals didn't get a chance to really contest. They still have to respect Truth's Katarina, despite being able to pick up the shutdown in the previous fight. This is a Death Cap, Liange's Torment, and Infinity Gauntlet, or Infinity Orb from Katarina. This is really powerful.
He's Thanos.
Yeah, you know, I corrected myself, but now I want to go back and just say, yeah, it is the Infinity Gauntlet. It's not the right name, but I think it's more fitting. Just one more item, and then he will truly ascend to be the most powerful being in all of the cosmos.
Yeah, as soon as Truth snaps, you know that half your team is dead. It's very fitting, you know, comparison to make. I like it a lot. Truth, of course, the main carry force for his team, but Dienzio, might have just taken the title. What was that?
Oh my lord! I look away my screen for 1 second, and then Gume's just dead?
Yeah. Dienzio just that good, it seems, with this build and the Kaisa burst in the single target fashion. Start up the Baron right away. Yikes is still alive. This is quite risky to do.
Well, they don't want to actually do the Baron. They want to find a reason to start a fight. Dienzio and Louis onto the backline trying to take out Hoon. Pops the stasis, but the rest of the members of NME say, hey, that's a rat on the screen. We got to pop him real quick. Another double for Truth. They got a beautiful bubble follow up from Selma. Not going to lead into any more follow-ups, though, because Truth does get slighted down by Yikes. And Immortals will maintain numbers advantage. Dawning Shadow comes through, barely misses a Louis as he sidesteps it. Dienzio looking for more onto Charm. Dive with the re-engage. 3-talon strike, not even needed for the third cast on that knockup. Now NME turn their eyes towards Baron, but this could be tricky because there's still a couple members alive for IMT.
And one of those is the one with Smite. Yikes, still up. The jungler has the blue buff too, so there's a lot of sustain available, especially with Goom in position. 4 members attacking down this Baron. Smite still here for Ty, but again, Rafa, they are considering maybe just turning this one. Dienzio dealing a ton of damage to this front line. There's Tidal Wave. He's unstoppable, but the health bar certainly can be stopped.
And it's going to be Iraqi Zoro. Can he get over the wall? But Dienzio with the slick moves. Killer Instinct over the thick wall. Gives him the escape pass that he needs to be able to get away from the Crocodile. Slays him on the backside of that one. Hoon is able to come in with the Mega Inferno Bomb, but it's not going to be enough to deter any members of NME. Tybe is the only one that falls, but the gold lead, despite everything, Smacks, it is still almost dead even. It is literally 1,000 gold difference, but at 17 minutes, that almost means nothing because you look at the item completions for everyone. Hoon, probably just a few hundred gold away from being able to pick up this death cap, and then Immortals will have reached the promised land of all these damage builds coming in for their scaling carries.
NME, they've used this Baron very well to just challenge their opponents to come fight them, but it doesn't look like this time is the same thing. No members in the area. NME, they still have all the confidence to start this one up, but there's nobody here, and they just burst this so fast, Rafa. Kai'Sa's damage is insane on the single target.
They did it without Tybe. They did it without Tybe as well, and now they find a pick opportunity on the Charm. He's got nowhere to run this time. NME just really understanding their limits, understanding their damage output, but now Dienzio might have been caught, pops the stasis, and then baits the rest of Immortals' front line into the waiting arms of NME. Tidal Wave is huge, catches Hoon, gets the slowdown, leading into the bubble onto Goom, and Hoon might be the next one to fall before Yikes has to flash away, but Hoon will go down for it all. Dienzio gets traded out, Selma will be able to survive, and Truth, you still have this Katarina that can put out the damage as they now look to march down the mid lane of this base.
Selma's team fighting on Nami is immaculate, disrupting the backside with his ultimate and paving the way for everyone to make their way through the fight. NME, with this fight win, with this game win, have locked themselves into the grand finals and punched their ticket to the championship in October, Rafa. Congratulations to NME.
A clean sweep from NME, and even though the games were incredibly close from Immortals back and forth in this series, NME still come out on top again. Congratulations, and I think we definitely got to get some words and thoughts from our wonderful host Charmer, which this time we should be joined this time around.
No, you still don't get me.
No.
No, you actually do get me this time. You absolutely do. So it's great that you actually do get me this time around because Charmer wants to talk about Charm. I am a big fan of Charm. I felt like Charm has played very, very well today. However, it seems like NME cracked, but also just kind of manipulating the draft in such a way that Charm got stuck on 2 different champions that are not what I would consider to be good engage champions to kind of, fine picks, but not the sorts where they are starting the fight and they don't have a lot of crowd control. And I felt like that really kind of tripped up Charm here because we kept seeing him wanting to get into fights. I think the second game is the perfect example. He's on Nasus and he just keeps walking toward the enemy. And he just keeps wanting to pick these fights, but he's not on a champion that can do it the same way as say like Rakan could, or even when he was on Nami and he can start something with a bubble or with a wave. And it's great when Charm is on what I would consider to be like a comfort champion, but you really saw a difference in my opinion this time around when Charm was forced to kind of like walk into fights. And on the other side, Selma still had Janna, still had Nami, got to play that role of kind of the peeler, kept Dienzio very clean as far as nobody was messing with him, so he could wreak havoc from the back line. And then obviously Truth was still playing well there. So To me, I felt like that was a lot of the difference, was just over and over I kept seeing Charm want to start fights, and I know that that's his MO. He's very good at it when he has champions with that skill set, with that tool set, but with the way the drafts and the bans went, he didn't have that opportunity, and it really felt like Immortal was struggling with those team fights when the time came.
Well, I mean, Nasus doesn't have a charm, and Rakan does, so I think that's a pretty big difference right there. It does not fit the naming scheme for the support player from Immortals that you take third. I was really impressed again, as always, by the assassin play of Truth, and I think we're again seeing the reason why our top two teams in NME and Tribe, who we're going to see face off in just a little bit, aren't really picking the control mage like the Ziggs and other champions similar to that, because they know that the assassins are such a strong counter pick to it. So this blind pick that we're seeing from Immortals and from other teams that have already fallen to the wayside does have its downfall, and I think that was a pretty big deal in this draft. I mean, Truth looked so strong on this category in those fights.
Yeah, I don't disagree one bit, and we're gonna get to see NME take on Tribe. This is kind of the story of Wild Rift here in the infancy of the esports scene, but they are moving on, so we know who our grand finalists are going to be. We also know that both of these teams have punched their ticket to the regional championship. However, there's still a good chunk of money on the line, and obviously everybody wants to be crowned the winner as well. And so when we come back from a break, don't go anywhere. We're gonna have more Wild Rift. We're gonna have our grand finals. It'll be a best of 5, so for the first time in the second major, we're guaranteed to get at least 3 games, so we have that to look forward to as well. But again, we're taking a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a bit.